Last time these two met, it took overtime to decide a winner. Here at the corner of John Prom Boulevard and Saints Road, it's senior night at Sandalwood High School for a classic Duval County matchup between two of the city's finest programs. It's Sandalwood against Raines. It's another edition of the high school 9-12 Roundup, and it's happening right now. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to our latest edition of High School 9-12 Roundup. Terry Norvell here, along with Justin Barney. Justin, we find ourselves off John Prom Boulevard, Sandalwood and Raines getting together, two traditional football powers that really haven't gotten together much over the years.
Yeah, these teams have not met a lot over the recent history. They met a lot, but you know, when you look historically, these teams have not played one another. Sandalwood, one of the biggest programs, not only in the area but in the state. Raines is a smaller program, so these two teams have not had that traditional rivalry, as much as you would think for two prominent programs.
No doubt about it. We will, of course, get back to this game as we go, but what is on tap for this show? A lot of good stuff, including an incredible look at distinguished alumni from these two high school football programs. It will blow you away. Alan Verlander with his community spotlight, our academic tip. Of course, we will look at highlights around our area, and my favorite part of the show, at the end, we will talk to a winning coach and a star player from our game of the week where we're at, Sandalwood and Raines. With that, Justin, though we teased a little bit, this is very impressive. We'll start with Raines. The distinguished alumni and the players that historically have made it to the NFL is impressive.
Yeah, when you talk about high school football in the area, in the state, you talk about the Raines Vikings. They are continually sending guys to the next level. When you talk about guys, Brian Dawkins, Leto Shepard, Jabbar Gaffney, Harold Carmichael, the list goes on and on and on. Solomon Kinley, Mike Pinkney, two of the newer Raines guys that have made that transition.
And Justin, that is so impressive from a local standpoint, what Raines has done. But that list of distinguished NFL alumni, that stacks up with high schools in the country. It is very impressive. Now, not to be outdone, Sandalwood, not as many NFL guys, but boy, Sandalwood has been a pipeline of sending big-time college football or high school football players to big-time college programs.
DeMarcus Walker, Florida State star, now in the NFL with the Broncos. Recently, Jeff Sims, he is the starting quarterback as a true freshman at Georgia Tech. Kingsley Gekwan, backup offensive lineman at Florida. Bradley Jennings Jr., he is a linebacker at Miami. So just the list goes on and on and on.
With that, let's swing it over to Alan Verlander. His weekly community spotlight is coming up. Of course, that is brought to you by Duval Motor Company.
Thanks, Terry. This week's High School 9-12 Community Spotlight, presented by Duval Motor Company, is with Dr. John Avendano, the President and CEO of Florida State College at Jacksonville. You've been here about 15 months. You were hired, have come in, and I'm sure learned a lot in this first 15 months. Give us your assessment of just the city of Jacksonville. Have your family, y'all have enjoyed living here? It's a little different weather than Chicago and other places you lived before. So give us just a thought of Jacksonville as a whole.
We still treat every single weekend like we're on vacation, right? We go do something different, something new, a lot of outdoor types of activities, and we really enjoyed it.
All right, so we welcomed you to Jacksonville with this pandemic. How was that process over the spring and the summer?
We rethink in terms of how we reach out to students and communicate with them. We've changed our orientation for new student orientation to have more of a virtual experience in that as well. But the bottom line is still making those contacts with the area high schools. For the traditional age student, making contacts with business and industry for the non-traditional age student. Let them know that the college has a variety of options, a variety of programs that are available for them. I do believe we have something to offer everybody, and I want this community to really look at FSCJ as their community's college. And rarely a day goes by that I don't come across somebody who's an FSCJ grad.
So with the pandemic, we just talked about how you get students there, but now you got to keep them. How has that been ending the spring, going in now to the fall?
One of the things that I think I'm most proud of is Now we're able to offer a variety of options for students, keeping their safety in mind, as well as providing them with those opportunities that help them be successful. So they have traditional online options. We've limited our lab sizes so that we can provide the social distancing. We take the protocols that are in place, and we're concerned about people's safety, but at the same time, get them educated, get them trained, get them certified, get them degreed, get them ready for transfer, get them ready for the workforce.
How have you seen the business community really come on board during this pandemic and say, how can we help?
Some of our businesses provided us with the resources necessary to buy the laptops and webcams for the students who didn't have the technology. So we have a great partnership with our local business and industry, and they've been very supportive, and they hire our graduates, which is probably the biggest thing.
Well, thanks for joining us today on High School 912 Roundup, this community spotlight. Really appreciate your time and what you're doing in the community.
Well, it was an honor, and I appreciate being here. Calling me anytime. Thank you.
Let's head over to Hayes Carline with his historical look back presented by the CSI companies.
Thank you, Alan. I'm so thrilled to bring you this week's High School 912 Roundup's historical look back as we honor former Fletcher running back Ciatrick Fason. Physical, dominant, spectacular. A 4-year player for the Senators, Fason rushed for 7,479 yards and 96 touchdowns in his prep career. Fason set the all-time area rushing record, surpassing University Christian's William McClendon when his prep career ended in 2001. His total now ranks second in area history, behind Yulee icon Derrick Henry. Fason was a parade All-American and considered a 5-star recruit by Rivals.com. He hit the 2,000-yard rushing mark twice in his career. Fason would sign with the Gators and enjoy a splendid collegiate career. He averaged 105.6 yards rushing per game at Florida in 2004, a number that led the SEC. Fason gained 1,533 yards of offense and scored 12 touchdowns that season. He was also instrumental in Florida upsetting FSU in Tallahassee. Fason would go on to be drafted by the Minnesota Vikings in the 4th round of the 2005 NFL Draft. He played 2 years in the NFL, rushing for 5 touchdowns. Fason now passes on his knowledge of the game to our city's youth, working as an assistant coach at First Coast High School. Fason certainly had an amazing career, and we're thankful his legend was born in Northeast Florida. After the break, we will head back to Sandalwood to Terry and Justin on the field.
High School 912 Roundup is brought to you by CSI Company, Duval Motor Company, and Bono's Barbecue.
CSI, headquartered in Jacksonville, is a nationally recognized staffing company with 4 divisions: CSI Professional, CSI Healthcare IT, CSI Tech, and CSI Financial.
The industry has changed a lot through technology, but in reality, it's still people business. The client wants a particular type of person for a particular type of job, and it's our job to find the right fit for that client.
We have a strategic approach, so it's not just about sending candidates your way. It's learning your culture, your environment, the type of people that work well in that environment, and try to find the talent that's the right fit for you the first time.
For CSI, we want to develop a long-term relationship, and we have a lot of salespeople that are still working with the same clients all these years later because they work hard, they do a great job, but they've built that relationship over time.
We've been around for 25 years now, and the fundamentals of our success are our people. That's what this is all about. We're a people business, so we're here to stay.
Welcome back. Terry Norvell on with Justin Barney as we head into our news and notes segment. Justin has been all over town. A lot of stuff has been happening. Of course, news and notes presented by Powering America.
A lot of good news and notes this week. We cover football playoffs, volleyball. Excellent thing. We're going to take you to those right now. Diving into our news and notes, wanted to lead off with volleyball, and right here on the First Coast, one of the best high school volleyball teams in the country, the Ponte Vedra Sharks. They moved to 15-0. They've won 24 consecutive matches. Number 1 in our power poll. They met number 2 Creekside Thursday night. They win in a thriller. 3-2, 18-16 in the 5th set. Great game from the Sharks. A little bit of perspective on this match. Ponte Vedra had won 14 consecutive matches this season, all by sweep. So Creekside just getting that game beyond 3 was a testament to the Knights there, but Ponte Vedra just too much. Jumping over to the Duval County line, Gateway Conference Championship, Fletcher downs Mandarin 25-21, 25-23, 25-18.
to win the Gatorade Conference Championship. And another one, cannot forget this one, an installment of the best volleyball rivalry in town. Bishop Kenny takes a 3-1 match over Bowles. They win 25-15 in the fourth, and those two teams, they've split this season. They turn around and play next week in the district semifinals. The winner goes to the playoffs. The loser goes home. The biggest news this week, the high school football playoffs. We have got the brackets already, came out Wednesday morning. We've got a lot of local teams in the playoffs this year. We've got 45 local teams in the high school football state playoffs. Those kind of start on a different batch of time depending on when those teams or where those teams are classified. November 6th, November 13th, November 20th will be the first high school football playoff games in the area. 45 local teams in the postseason this year. That is definitely a record. All you had to do to make the postseason this year was say you wanted to play. Everyone else who qualified, those playoffs will be here before you know it.
It's not only football in the area. We've got some good ones, but again, some other sports too. That's another week of news and notes here on the High School 912 Roundup.
You've done it again, Justin. Thank you very much. Great news and notes. With that, we've got a special guest. The Director of Athletics here at Sandalwood High School joins us, Frank and Cayenne. Frank, I'm a native of Jacksonville, so I kind of think I've got this down. 2 years ago, you were at Parker. Now you're at Sandalwood. I don't even know if that's legal in this city, the Parker-Sandalwood thing.
Well, it is legal. Now, all my Sandalwood Saints alumni said it wasn't and
Right.
did not like me for a couple years, but I'm back at home, so it's great to be back at home, and I'm loving it. You know, it's going back home is just like, you know, moving into your old parents' house. You know,
Sure.
it's a great feeling. So, and the kids are the same.
Yeah.
You know, it really hasn't changed.
Sure. Good point.
Since I was here.
Good point. Being serious for a moment, as the Director of Athletics, I got to believe that, and this is going on in a lot of schools in our area, your principal, your booster clubs, the lost revenue, not enough tickets sold, and that bleeds over to concessions and things like that. What are you guys doing to be creative to find revenue?
Well, it's tough with this COVID. We always have to think with those COVID protocols. I mean, we're always playing it safe. We know we're going to lose revenue, so we just do the best we can and just make as much money as we can. You know, we have the COVID protocols within the stands. We have the Florida Lee marked on the stadium so they can socially distance. We make our announcements almost every 5 to 10 minutes. If you've heard it, so we try to mitigate, you know, those COVID have those COVID
Yes.
protocols in, and so, you know, just to be as safe as possible. I mean, revenue, we're going to lose it.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate, but, you know, I'd rather have a safe and productive season rather than have no season with no revenue. And, you know, the little revenue we get, you know, we're going to survive.
You made, you know, a lot of parents and coaches, athletic directors didn't think we'd be sitting here on a Friday night in October with this beautiful sitting behind us. So you had to make concessions and you had to find ways to kind of bridge that gap. And you've done that creatively. You talk about this Friday night experience. You can't replace this.
You can't. And that's what we're trying to, you know, I mean, mimic with 30% capacity. I mean, unfortunately, we do have to, you know, turn away a bunch of people, you know, but the people are getting used to it. You know, the students are getting used to it. They know that, you know, that's going to be a 30% capacity, and we're actually holding the link so at least our parents and our students can have it first dibs, and then general public. So, you know, our students are going to get that experience, you know, and we're trying not to change anything, because last year, I mean, it was horrible for those seniors, especially my baseball players and my track, my softball. I mean, we had some really good teams coming up, you know, some state qualifiers that we, you know, thought were going to go pretty far, and, you know, they didn't get to go into the playoffs. They didn't get to experience it. And so what we're trying to do is make it up to these 2020 graduates. So, you know, that's all basically what we're trying to do, is just trying to keep it the same, trying to keep it as normal as possible so they can get that same experience, you know, and hopefully we don't shut down again.
Time now for our academic tip of the week, brought to us by Kennedy Talley. Of course, this tip sponsored by the Florida State College at Jacksonville.
Thanks, Terry. Our academic tip of the week is brought to you by our friends at Florida State College at Jacksonville. And this week, we are going to talk about the importance of keeping yourself comfortable, hydrated, and fed. Taking care of your body's basic needs will not only help to improve your mood and concentration while you study, but it will also make sure you avoid needing to get up and thereby lose your focus during your study time. So make sure to take water, a jacket, a snack, coffee, or whatever else you need to your study space so that you can be comfortable, focused, and ready to learn. It's also important to make sure that you get enough sleep.
Good night, Squidward.
Good night, SpongeBob.
I know this may not sound like a study tip, but a great deal of research shows that getting a good night's rest is imperative to strong academic performance. For High School 912 Roundup, I'm Kennedy Talley. More with Terry and Justin after the break.
Florida State College at Jacksonville opens doors for you that you never thought possible. With programs in the fastest growing fields in our community, your degree will help you earn the career you always wanted. Affordable tuition, online advising, and dedicated support with the convenience of being close to home helps our students succeed during these uncertain times. We are here every step of the way. Visit fscj.edu to begin your journey today.
Duval is a big place, so you need to get a lot of mileage out of what you drive. At Duval Motor Company, we put service first. With complimentary service loaner vehicles and multiple locations to serve you, our service teams take care of you by providing repair services for every make and model. Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. We've got Duval covered when it comes to service. Any make, any model, any location. DuvalMotorCompany.com.
Being a high school student isn't easy, and sometimes all they need is just a little help. That's the goal of Jacksonville High School 912. We are committed to furthering the success of the entire student in academics, sports, and life. To collaborate and support high school students and athletes to reach their dreams and increase their chances for success after graduation. Jacksonville High School 912. Academics, sports, life. Established by Airstream Ventures.
Welcome back to the show. It's not all football around here. Our own Kaylee Whitehead has caught up with a very, very special volleyball player.
The senior star is a leader for the Broncos as she has been on varsity for 2 years and serves as co-captain. Her coaches and teammates rely on her leadership and energy on and off the court. In addition to volleyball, she enjoys singing, attending youth group, and is in the top 10% of her class.
Great job again, Kaylee. We really appreciate that. Justin, behind us, Sandalwood kind of methodically taking care of business.
Sandalwood is moving along in the right direction with far fewer stars than they had last year. Not only are we having the game behind us, but we have quite a few highlights from an excellent night of football around the First Coast. Let's go to those right now. One of the best games in the area this year, Fleming Island in the white, riding an unbeaten streak of the regular season that went back to October 2018. Oakleaf in the black, second half, Fleming Island up 16-7. They lost 9 minutes off the clock in the third to build that lead to 22-7. TK Kosak in for the TD, but the Knights come back. Walter Simmons the third to Kobe Bates, and Bates leaves everybody behind on his way to the 21-yard touchdown. 22-14 Fleming Island, and the Knights in the area's longest unbeaten streak in the regular season with a 29-22 win in overtime. Huge win for the Oakleaf Knights and Frank Ayers. Trinity Catholic in the white coming over to Skinner Barco Stadium, visiting Bowles last minute of the first half. No score. Ozzie Connie out of the shotgun. He is gone. 34-yard touchdown run. Bulldog up 7-0. They go on to win this one big, 24-7. Big one next week for the Bulldogs in Baker County. Mandarin visiting Trinity Christians. Both teams ready to go on a beautiful night of football. Mandarin goes 3-and-out on its first drive. Trinity right to work. Ja'Cory Jordan looking deep for Caleb Killian. Big gainer down and steep in Mandarin territory. And that led to this. Trayon Webb, the sophomore who was already committed to Georgia, finds the end zone from 5 yards out. Trinity up 7-0. They go up and win this game 33-7. They've rebounded nicely since a loss to Bowles in week 1. And there we have it, another excellent night of football from around the area. Probably one of our best weeks of games and matchups and you saw it in those highlights right there.
Great highlights, Justin, from our area. With the highlights put to bed, there's only one thing left. How about the winning coach and the star player coming up next?
High School 912 Roundup is brought to you by CSI Company, Duval Motor Company, and Bono's Barbecue.
Looking for a place where you can grow your skills for a more fulfilling career? A place that can take you further with advanced industry training that can be completed in a year or less? If so, FSCJ is the place for you. FSCJ offers flexible classes that work with any schedule, with many online accelerated options to choose from. Our programs are tailored to meet high-demand workforce needs, ensuring you are prepared for success. Let FSCJ help you get to the next level. Visit fscj.edu to get started today.
Back we are here at Sandalwood, where the Saints have wrapped up a 17-8 win at home over Raines. We've got Coach Geis from Sandalwood and his star linebacker, Brandon Jennings. Coach, I'll start with you. I know you hated giving up that score late in the game. It counts, but really your defense pretty much pitched a shutout tonight.
The defense threw a zero up there. I mean, we just trying to run the clock out there late, didn't want to take any chances, and of course that's when we did fumble. And then, we took the foot off the gas a little bit, but, we're not going to throw a pick there. We're going to run the ball, punt, and play soft and let them score and get out of here.
Look at the three phases of football, and your team really contributed. Obviously, you scored enough. Your defense basically pitched a shutout. Lost in everything, I think, from the average fan at the game. Raines could not get out of their end of the field, basically the third quarter, and some into the fourth. Three phases really came through tonight.
We knew we were going to run the ball, and we had to play defense. I think we got one of the best defenses in the state, got the best linebacker maybe in the country. And, when we got up 6-0 on it, I didn't see them doing anything on us. So we weren't going to throw the ball, take chances. I mean, we could have. We had some stuff we were going to try that we thought was there. And so,
speaking of your linebacker, Brandon, thank you for your time. I know you want to go celebrate, but quickly, boy, you had control. You guys scored on your first possession of the ball game, and then it got into a little bit of a slugfest. You guys never could quite put Raines away, and they had a couple slippery little skill position guys on offense.
Well, yes, sir. We knew that they had some athletes, but we got thick, and we realized that they weren't going to score on us.
Sure.
We just completely stumped them, and we realized they couldn't move the ball on us, and that we were going to hold them for the rest of the game.
With that said, though, Brandon, a tight game no matter what, and crazy things can happen in a tight game. Did you go up and say something in your punter's ear when he pinned him down? Because that was a big play in that second half.
Well, the punter, he's pretty accurate. I knew he could get it right there and that we would have him pinned down and that they couldn't move it. So I was pretty sure that we could pitch a shutout from start to beginning.
Coach, we'll wrap things up. Talk about your team now 4-0, and tonight was a different style of win. You had a couple of one-point wins, high-scoring games. Tonight you do it under 20 points. What's that say about your team, the different ways you can win football games?
I think we're explosive on offense. The team that we played last week was high risk. I mean,
sure.
We only had 2 home games, and they would play anywhere. It was just one of those games. They had 13, 14 D1 kids, and, I mean, we were banged up. I mean, we were banged up all week. Brandon, we didn't even let practice with the shoulder pads on his shoulder. I mean, it was to come back and be able to play Raines that tough.
Yeah.
I mean, if it had gotten ugly, I wouldn't even. We'd have moved on quickly. But I mean, last week's game was tough on us. To come back and listen, Raines can go on and win a state championship. They're that caliber. I mean, they may be 1-3 now, but they're going to be in the playoffs and they're going to do something.
A win over Raines is nothing to apologize about. I'll tell you that. Congratulations, guys. I'll let you get about your business. 4-0. Continue a very successful season. With that, we will start wrapping things up. Let's take a look ahead to next week's game. How about Stanton at Paxson? That is presented by CSI Companies. We'll take it to the west side next week. Looking forward to that. With that, one final lap around the area. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard and what happened. This scoreboard presented by Baker's Sports and the YMCA. As we get out of here, let me thank my co-host Justin Barney and the entire production crew. We'll wrap it up tonight. Next week on the west side. We hope to see you out there and catch us next week for High School 912 Roundup.
High School 912 would like to say thank you to all of our proud partners.